more times than I can count. They were really pissed off at me at the time because I stood my ground on something, only for them to come back later and really appreciate it. There's sometimes they never appreciate it. They're just mad. But a lot of times they come back later and they're like, hey, I'm glad you didn't put me in a dangerous situation. That's where you build the trust that this guy's not going to let me do something to hurt myself knowingly or do something stupid.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been cleared for takeoff. You are now flying high with Travis Lamance.
My feet barely touch.
I just feel like a little kid.
Just Kevin Hartnett it over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever watch that when him and Snoop Dogg were commentating on the Olympics?
Yeah.
Sometimes they'd hit the shot under the table, and Snoop's feet are like firmly planted on the ground.
Yeah. It was funny.
Just swinging, bro.
Well, what are we doing?
Doing the From the Flight Deck follow-up on crypto, y'all.
Crypto, y'all. Mr. Josh Rhodes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interaction on that.
Josh is a cool dude.
He is, man. I know I learned a lot just listening to y'all talk, because I haven't played around in that world a lot. Like, when it first started getting hot, I went and bought enough that, I wouldn't regret it if it did everything everyone would say. And I just kind of left it alone.
Yeah.
I'm not, following it. But you guys' conversation really brought a lot of practicality into it and helped me, really track with some things that I was completely unaware of before. And then I appreciated some of your questions, just like that whole question of, is cryptocurrency even real?
Right.
And it's so funny, right? Because I can remember my grandfather, he was one of those guys that kept money in the mattress,
Right.
Because once you put it in the bank, it's not really real anymore,
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that. That's essentially just where I am at with cryptocurrency.
Being a new asset, new space, there's a lot of shenanigans going on out there. So unless you really take an interest in it and dig into what the truth is, there are a lot of misleading people and a lot of hype that's total BS. And, you got all these moon boys talking about all this crazy stuff, and people hear all that and they're like, they just tune out instead of digging in and figuring out what's real. And that's one thing I really like about Josh and why I follow him so closely, is he's just a real dude. He's not hiding behind these pseudonyms and fake accounts and all this other crap that a lot of them do, a lot of them try to say that they do that for safety and security and all this. Well, he's just a normal dude, and he just happens to be really freaking good at understanding it and really good at dumbing it down for someone like me to understand how it actually works and what the purpose of it is. And he's very excited about the technology like I am, sees a huge future in the technology like I do, but also doesn't get overhyped on these crazy narratives that a lot of people get into. So he's just a really good resource for bringing it to the common person out there. So I really connect with him over that.
Yeah, I like that phrase in his story about where are the dads at that are doing crypto?
Right. Yeah. I don't need all these crazy people. We're the normal people. We're the dads. Yeah.
Do you mess around in the crypto space?
The little bit I know about it, I've actually learned from him introducing me to it. So I'm not sure it's the devil or not. You get that whole side of it.
Get that devil money.
Yeah, you're going to be coded if you need to use your crypto now. So,
right.
I really haven't messed with it much. No, sir.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's pretty interesting because 99.5% of the people out there, if they know anything about crypto, it's just Bitcoin. Robin's messing with me all the time because she knows how much I mess with it. And she's like, the Bitcoin's this and the Bitcoin's that. And she knows that there's all these other ones out there. And Bitcoin is huge and important, but it's not the only game in town. There's several other blockchains that are going to be very instrumental to what's going to happen over the next decade. So I feel like anybody that doesn't understand it right now and get involved with it right now is going to have a lot of regret a decade from now, but may turn out to me being the one with a lot of regret, but I don't believe so. You should hedge like everything, not take your whole entire life savings and throw it on, as Josh says, the alien snot-nosed monkey coin. But, there's a lot of that stupid stuff out there where they try to get people to believe in this pot of gold on the other end of the rainbow. And I don't encourage that behavior at all, but take 5% of your savings and put it in secure assets like XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Sui, like some of the top 10. You don't even have to get crazy about it. Just find the top 10 and go put something in them.
Yeah.
Because they are going to be worth a lot more money as time goes on. Bitcoin's been the highest yielding asset year over year for several years in a row now by a large margin. And I think it's still got a long way to go. I mean, we're just now this year getting institutional money coming into that, and we have all the ETFs out there now where the general public can participate in the upside of crypto without, if they go in through an ETF, they don't actually own the Bitcoin they're buying or the XRP they're buying in the ETF. They just own part of that fund. So if you have like some retirement money that you can't directly own the crypto with, that's the next best thing, is to go into an ETF. Personally, because I'm a crypto nerd, I don't like doing that. I like to custody my own crypto and own the coin.
In your mattress?
In my mattress, yeah. Not. I should have brought. Oh, I got it in my bag over there. I was going to show you guys what a cold wallet looks like. Wallet. We talked. Maybe I'll get up here in a minute and grab it and just show you guys what one looks like, because we got into that discussion a little bit with Josh, and it's really not a big deal. Whenever I first started hearing about them, I was like, so all my money lives on this little thing, so if I lose this thing, I'm screwed? No, it's not like that. The money still lives out in the network. That device is just your access keys. That's like your keys to your safety deposit box. So if you lose your keys to your safety deposit box, it doesn't mean you can't ever get in there. It just means you got to go through some steps to recover a new key or a replacement key or whatever. It's just a security key to access your digital assets.
Yeah, I think we've all seen that horror story about the guy that like had all his Bitcoin on the hard drive and that got thrown away.
Yeah.
Spent like 10 years digging through the dump trying to find it.
A lot of the early days, while they were figuring out the technology, it was that way. Like, it was physically, you couldn't access it without this device. It was still the keys, but the way it was designed, you couldn't get beyond that without that device. The cold wallets that are out there now, at least all the ones I play around with, there are ways to go and fix the problem. So, like, if Nick beat me up and stole my little deal, he wouldn't be able to access it, and he ran away with it or burned it, we lost it, whatever. I could get a new one in and go through a process to get access back into it. So it's not just gone forever if I lose that device. And then you have your hot wallets, which are connected to the network, but they're not part of the exchanges. So you can buy it on the exchange. Like Coinbase is one of the more popular ones. You can go on there and buy it. It's a great on-ramp for people that don't know what they're doing to go get it bought, but they're custodying it for you. So if something happens to them, or they shut down, or some big attack happens on them, your stuff is at risk because they're custodying it for you. And then a hot wallet, you self-custody, so it's one layer better, but it's still not as secure as a cold wallet. So if you're actively trading that crypto asset on a daily basis or a weekly basis, you're going to want to leave some of it on a hot wallet so you don't have to go in and out of your cold wallet all the time. And all these terms turn people off that don't understand it. It makes it sound fancy and complicated, and it's not. It's really pretty damn simple. If an old country boy like me can figure it out, then anybody can. You just take some initiative to go and study it and understand it. And I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to get left at the station on this whole thing just because they're intimidated by it. And I hate to see that when there's good people out there that can benefit from it if they just do a little education.
Yeah, for sure.
It's on my list. The education side of it, for sure.
And it sounds like that group that Josh has is a great place for newbies to start figuring it out. And
he has a super good online course. You just go through the modules at your own pace. So if you're picking it up quick, you can snap right through them. If you're like lost and you don't know what's going on, for one thing, that gets you access into his Discord, and there's some super helpful people in there. I asked a lot of stupid questions when I was first figuring it out. I still ask a lot of stupid questions, but that's how I learn. And there's dozens and dozens of very educated crypto people in there that jump in and answer, and Josh is very active in there and answering and helping. So between his access to his group in the Discord to ask live questions with, and the way he has his training modules set up, he talks about them in a logical way to explain them, where he doesn't baffle people with a bunch of bullshit in there. He just lays it out and just kind of step by step, this is what you do and how you do. And that, I mean, I played with crypto for probably 6 months to a year before I found him. So I knew a fair amount of it already, but I had done it the harder way and trying to figure it out and figuring out who's real and what information's real. I wish I would have found his course right in the beginning, because it's an exceptionally good way to learn what the business is.
How did you decide, yeah, this guy really knows what he's talking about, I'm going to trust him?
Watching his social media content, the fact that he wasn't hiding behind fake stuff, had his real name out there, he was doxxed, as they call him. The guys that are doing stuff nefarious usually aren't that way. So that was check one. Okay, he's a known quantity, talks about the general area where he lives, his face is on camera all the time, and he just talks about stuff in a logical way. He doesn't try to make himself sound super smart. Guy is hella smart, but he doesn't try to talk over your head to make himself feel good. So I really liked that he was down to earth, known quantity, followed his social for a while. Finally, I'm like, I'm going to check out his program. And as he talked about on the episode, you don't get into his program unless you do a phone call with him. Well, that phone call, as much as he was vetting me, I was vetting him. And yeah, this guy's real. I trust what he has to say. And then beyond that, it's just been the proof in the relationship since then.
Do you tend to find yourself as like an early adopter on all things, or is it just certain things that you're passionate about?
Usually, if it's already been developed and built and everybody's involved, I usually don't want nothing to do with it. I'm like, it's already been done. I already know what's over that hill. No, I'm definitely on the side that likes to get into things early and do things early and being part of the group that figures it out, which by crypto standards, I'm not early by any stretch. There's guys that have been doing it for a decade or more, but by overall community standards, yeah, it's still real early. The vast majority of people don't know anything about it. 1 out of 100 people I talk to even know what I'm talking about outside of Bitcoin, so it's still real early.
I tend to be a late adopter unless I'm like uniquely super passionate about something specifically. What's that like for you? Like,
I'm the same. I have to vet it out. I have to know a little bit about it before I just throw my chips at it. So,
what about like with music gear and stuff? Especially like back in the day when you were playing a lot, were you always checking out the next newest thing that was coming out? Or
yeah, with music gear is different.
Yeah,
I want to know all about it before everybody else knows about it. You know, you want to be the first with the mostest on that side of the game.
Right.
Yeah, I'll spend the money on stuff like that for sure.
Nice.
But on crypto, man, I don't know.
Yeah. When he talks about the flywheel principle, and it sounded like you knew what he was talking about with the other gentleman's book and how that played into business. Could you break that down for us?
Yeah, it's funny. He's talking about the Good to Great book by Collins, and we just did that book, last month in our book, or we do like a company book club. I had done that book several times over the years, but we had just done it again recently, so it was pretty fresh. Basically, you're just trying to figure out how to maximize your points of leverage. What a lot of people have made the mistake of in crypto, and the mistake I would have made if I hadn't learned this information from him, is they do what they're called round tripping their portfolio. So let's say you put $1,000 in your crypto portfolio. We go through a bull cycle, so it all goes way up. Now your portfolio is worth $100,000. So you're like, yeah, I'm rich. I got $100,000. And you're all excited about it. Well, then you hit the bear market. Well, in the stock market, if you drop 10%, 20%, everyone's freaking out. In crypto, you're going to get swings of 80, 90% on a lot of assets. So your 1,000 might go to 100,000, and then it might go to 1,500, like pretty quick. It's a very, very volatile asset. It's super responsive to the greater market. So if the greater market moves 2%, it's probably going to move 30%. Like, it moves a lot. So what he's talking about is, as your money's gaining value, don't just sit there and watch, wait, and hope that it's just going to stay growing forever, because nothing's up forever. It goes up, and it has a reset, and up, and then a reset. So what he's talking about is taking your appreciation out of there as it's going up. So, if you double your money, take 20% of it out of the market, and then as it doubles again, take another 20%. Like, take profits on the way up. Well, you pull that money out, the people that are really into crypto, one of the reasons is because we understand the devaluation of fiat money. So the dollar devaluation, the dollar's down, depending on who you talk to, somewhere north of 90% of what its value was when it came off the gold standard. And so everyone thinks everything's getting a lot more expensive, but what's really happening is the dollar's getting worth a lot less money. So if you pull all those profits out of there, and you just put them in dollars and they're sitting in a savings account in fiat currency, they're losing money the whole time they're there. It's not continuing to build value while it's sitting in that deal. So you want to put it into tax-advantaged appreciating assets that aren't going to dive when that crypto goes back down. Some people will go into real estate. Some people have these perpetual banking strategies where they use some different insurance policies to do that through. But one reason a lot of the guys in this space like real estate is because you take that and you go and use your gains to buy an asset that's going to bring depreciation to lower your tax bases through the tax laws in the real estate side. But now you're buying something that's also going to spit off cash flow. So let's say you made $100,000, you go and buy a rental property with that. You depreciate the money you spent on the rental property, but now you're renting it. So now you're collecting a couple grand a month in payments off the property. So now you're taking that couple grand a month and you're starting to dollar cost average back into the crypto. So as the crypto market comes back down and you're watching where the market cycle's at, let's say it's dropped 50, 60%, whatever it is, it might go down some more, but it might start going back up. So instead of taking your 100 grand and dumping it right back in a spot buy right there, just put 5 grand in this week, watch for a little dip next week, put another 5 grand in, 5 grand in. So what it does is if the market does continue down and you're buying a little bit at a time, it lowers your cost basis into the asset. So as the market's coming down, it doesn't have a lot of upward volatility in it. You want a dollar cost average into those buys. So you spread your purchase out over some time. Generally works out to lower your entry price. And then when it does take off and go up, then you go back to pulling profits, taking those profits, putting them back into real estate or your perpetual banking system or whatever method you want to use. There's a bunch of them out there. And then you start cash flowing off of those assets, and then the cash flow off of those assets go back into dollar cost averaging. So that's where the flywheel effect comes from. You're just building a bigger and a bigger and a bigger flywheel every one of these cycles that goes around.
So you talked some about buying appreciating assets like real estate, but I also know there's crazy tax advantages on the private aircraft side of things. So how would you factor that opportunity into that whole system?
The private aircraft market, for the purposes we're talking about here, works very similar to real estate. So let's say you have $1 million of gains off of something and you want to go spend that $1 million somewhere. Same thing, you can go buy a personal aircraft with that. And with the new tax laws that are out right now, almost everybody will qualify for 100% depreciation. So you can write off the full amount of that right when you go buy it, as long as you get it in service within that tax year. And then if you're just buying it for personal use, there are rules that you can't go charge people money to fly the airplane. That's what we call Part 91 operations. It's private, personal use only. So if you go and spend your money on that, yeah, you get your depreciation, but you're not going to get any cash flow out of it. That's just, hey, cool, you got a fun boy toy and go enjoy it. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're in a financial position to afford to do that. But if you're not, you want to create a cash flowing asset out of that and make it like the real estate rental property. Then that's one of our core pieces of business. They come to us and they're like, hey, I need to do this. We identify which aircraft works for any needs they have on it. And then we consult with them on what does best on the charter market. We'll go out and help them find the aircraft, vet it out, do the pre-buy, check all the records, make sure they're getting a good asset, just like you do on buying a commercial property. You're going to have an inspection and make sure everything's good on it. And then we add it to our Part 135 certificate. That makes it legal for commercial use. So then we go out and hire the pilots and the crew and get them all trained. And then we put it out on the charter market and start renting it to people on the charter market. And that money that comes in cash flows the aircraft. So now you have positive cash flow coming in. And then same thing, you can either keep that asset out there on the market if it's performing and doing well. That cash flow that's coming in off of that aircraft should be going back into DCAing, into some more crypto, or into another asset to diversify. So you don't want everything in the aviation space and you don't want everything in the crypto space. You want to diversify a little. So that cash flow that's coming in, you're buying more crypto, it goes up. Now you got to figure out that money again. So your options are either go buy a second aircraft and have a second cash flowing asset, or let's say you only had $1 million to do it last time, so you didn't quite get the big boy toy you wanted, right?
Right.
You want something a little cooler like this G550 sitting right out here. So now we can go and sell that aircraft for you. You buy a more expensive aircraft, you're back into the depreciation situation again. There is some recapture on depreciation on the airplanes. If you go and sell that other one, you'll have a little recapture, but you're buying a more expensive airplane, so you'll still get your depreciation advantage there. And usually, not usually, every case I can think of, bigger aircraft's a bigger paycheck on the cash flow side. So you just, same thing. Anybody that's familiar with how you do it with commercial real estate, it's almost the exact same thing, except you get an aircraft out of the deal instead of a building.
And you avoid all of that Thanksgiving TSA turmoil.
Yeah.
So now I know why he was trying to lock down that G6 before the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
Get it done.
Yeah, for sure. 2 or 3 of them.
Speaking of, though, I mean, this episode comes out the Friday after Thanksgiving. Like, is there even enough of a window left if someone wants to knock that
for
out this year?
If there's some situational stuff there, but the short answer is yes. A big aircraft like a Gulfstream 650 or a large cabin class aircraft, they usually take a little longer to vet out. So the timing on it's going to be really tight at this point. You might have maybe if you got it done in the next week, you might be able to get it done and follow all the processes correctly. The smaller aircraft definitely got a few weeks left, mainly because we have our own maintenance facilities that we control in-house. So if we need to move slots around or pull some technicians off to get a pre-buy knocked out or whatever, since we're vertically integrated, that's one of the reasons we do it, is it gives us internal flexibility to take care of our clients. So if you just went out and asked the average broker that's just a broker and doesn't have any of these internal abilities, their timing is going to get real limited unless they have pre-reserved maintenance slots somewhere. But we got a few weeks left that we could get something done.
Yeah. So call Travis now to lock down your
Yeah.
private jet for 2026.
Yeah, you need to get it bought and get a flight on it before December 31st.
This episode is brought to you by Haven ASG. Looking to buy your first private aircraft or upgrade your current bird? Travis and the team at Haven Aviation Services Group has you covered. From finding the jet of your dreams to selling your old model, our expert brokerage teams handle every detail, connecting you to the right deal for the right aircraft every time. Visit havenasg.com/flyinghigh today for your custom experience to begin. Again, that's havenasg.com/flyinghigh, or just click the link in the show notes. Now back to the show.
So what all is the walkthrough like when you're vetting an aircraft for a potential buyer? What all do you have to get knocked out?
Oh man, that's a long process.
Bird's eye view.
Bird's eye view. You always start with records. You want to make sure your records are there from birth till to date, right? Just to make sure there's no big gaps, nothing crazy, no damage history. That's what you kind of start with. Then you want to go out and look at the aircraft from a high level and say, okay, externally it looks pretty good. Run some engines, operate some avionics. Like from a big picture, everything seems to be functionally working. Okay. But then you start the real process. Then you take it into the shop, you tear it apart, you get the records in there, you start looking through ADs, STCs, you actually research everything out. Then you got to put it all together in this big package. Send it to the FAA and make sure they like what they're seeing as well. And then once it's all approved, you actually put it on a certificate. So,
wow. So there's actually an intermediate step where FAA has to approve your findings on.
They in this particular situation, they accept your findings. They don't really approve it. Back in the day, it used to be that way. Back in the day, they actually came on site. You'd lay all the records out in front of them, set in front of the aircraft. They would do their visual inspections, ask you a bunch of questions, and they would actually approve it. Now it's on you to approve it. It's on the actual mechanic.
Gotcha.
So you're as the DOM, you're saying, hey, this aircraft's airworthy and it can be on our program. So they're more or less just reviewing it and accepting the fact that you said it was okay.
That must have been a welcome shift in the legality process.
Welcome for them as well, because now they're not culpable if something's screwed up. Yeah. So now it's all on you. Yeah, they say, okay, this is what you said you got. We're going to accept that. And now you get 2 months down the road and you find you missed something. They have good deniability. They're like, oh, well, you're the one that said it was good. So it puts the onus on us, which Nick and I have always been pretty tight on that. We don't play games in that arena at all. We make sure it's right there. But there's a ton that goes into it. He does all our conformity inspections, and I don't know how many damn spreadsheets and everything he's got now. You build these conformity inspections, and on a turbojet aircraft, they get very involved, especially on a 10 or more airplane, where then you go into a bunch of new requirements in the GMM, or the General Maintenance Manual has a bunch of new stuff that we have to follow, and it's a very involved process. which
You got the right team.
yeah,
That's why I said that's why he's saying it needs to happen this week or next week.
Yeah.
Before the end of the year, it can get a little wild quick.
you saw him go cross-eyed when I said that, right?
Yeah, I did.
He's like, that means I'm working Christmas.
No,
I'm afraid he might start pulling his hair out. But,
yeah. No, I actually enjoy it. I think it's a good thing. It keeps you on top of things. It actually keeps you more plugged into the regulatory aspect. When you're doing conformities, you find all kinds of new rules they put out or new data that's changed, and you're like, oh crap, that's changed here, so that means it's changed across the rest of my fleet. So let me go over here and fix this stuff.
Oh wow!
Like, it just keeps you more plugged in on a daily basis. So.
And the FAA has a responsibility to protect the general public that they're getting on a safe aircraft. So that's why there's such a huge difference between a Part 91 aircraft and a Part 135 aircraft. A Part 91 aircraft, you can, as long as you got that checkbook, you can go buy an airplane and kind of do, to a great extent, whatever the hell you want with it. And you go and load unsuspecting people on that airplane. They don't know if it's done right, if it's got some crazy problems with it. It doesn't get vetted out like that at all. So about the only security net there is the MRO that's taking care of the airplane. They're almost every aircraft technician I've ever met is pretty high integrity, and so they're not going to knowingly cut a bunch of corners. But there's also a vast difference in quality of technician out there at the different MROs. So you got to make sure that the MRO staff has the same values that you do on what's important.
Yeah, you get a 91 guy, goes out and buys his aircraft. Say he buys 2 for his company, and then he says, "Okay, well I'm going to save money. I'm going to go hire me a mechanic. That way I can work my stuff in house and keep the cost more effective to operate." But then you hire a guy that's got 2 years experience, barely knows what the FARs are, because I was in this position is the reason I say that. And they throw a couple of jets at you, and prior to that, you're like, I've never even worked on a jet. Like, I've worked turboprops and pistons, and now you just threw 2 500-mile aircraft at me. It's just like, wow. And then you're lucky enough to meet people throughout the industry that help you kind of get through it, or I was. But in the beginning, if you don't have that type of integrity or that type of, hey, stop, I gotta look this up, or I gotta call somebody, I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at. Over time, like a lot of these guys don't do that. They get in there, they get involved, and things just go wrong. They just didn't know.
And it can get very high pressure for the pilots and the technicians involved, because there's a lot of money at stake for one. So if you're saying, hey, you need this new part, and by the way, this part costs 50, 80 grand, whatever it is, it's a significant amount of money. So you get a lot of pressure. You sure it won't make it another couple months? You sure we can't wait and do that next year? And then the time factor, most people that buy these aircraft, they do it because they're busy people and they need to get places and they've got meetings, they've got their own problems. I don't care, I gotta go. Like, let's go. And you, as a technician and a pilot, you really got to stand your ground to protect them, because they don't know. A lot of times they just get their itis and they just want to go, and you're like, hey, if I won't put me or my family on it, I ain't putting you or your family on it. So it gets pretty intense sometimes, and more times than I can count. They were really pissed off at me at the time because I stood my ground on something, only for them to come back later and really appreciate it. There's sometimes they never appreciate it. They're just mad. But a lot of times they come back later and they're like, hey, I'm glad you didn't put me in a dangerous situation. And that's where you built the trust that this guy's not going to let me do something to hurt myself knowingly or do something stupid, and the system's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Shit still happens, but super important is people involved in the aviation space that you just got to be willing to stand that ground and lose a customer, piss someone off.
At least they're mad and alive.
They're mad and alive. That's exactly how I look at it.
We can all think of a bunch of, rock stars or pro athletes and stuff that have died in private aviation crashes, man.
And on the 91 side, the pilots the duty times are different. The regulations are different. The mechanics, they still don't have a duty time really, but you go in and you launch an airplane at 4 o'clock in the morning and they're gone for 2 days and you twiddle your thumbs a little bit, but then they show up at 5 o'clock in the evening broke. They're like, hey man, I got a 6 a.m. departure. You're like, all right, so you get in the book, you troubleshoot it, you order the part, you counter to counter, you pick it up at 10 p.m. at the damn airport, run out there, and you work all night on it, and you fuel it, and get it pushed outside, ops check it, and then kick them out again. To be able to be that type of mechanic, you have to keep your head clear and straight all the time. It's really easy to slip. It's really easy to get fatigued. You're tired. Like the older I get, the more that happens. Like when I was younger, it wasn't so bad.
You're getting old?
Night. Yeah, I'm getting old. Definitely getting old, bro. I'm feeling it anyway if I'm not. So, yeah, it's all those long nights prior to that.
It's not stressful. We're only 21.
Right. Do the same way in the EMS, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just that push.
Yeah.
You know, it's even worse in EMS because you're saving lives.
Yeah, if you don't get that aircraft fixed, and they're needing to launch to go pick up a patient, there's very high likelihood a patient's life is in the balance, but you also are putting 3 people usually on that aircraft besides the patient that you don't want to go endanger them. So, it gets intense. Yeah.
Yeah, and to make that call, and say, hey, sorry, part's wrong. Sorry, I didn't fix the issue. Sorry, I screwed this up or broke this trying to put it in. But it can't fly. It's down. So it makes it tough.
Yeah, I bet.
I want to hit something else on crypto I forgot to hit.
Do it.
Oh.
Yeah. It's exciting news.
Dude, I'm so excited,
dude.
man.
I get so stoked over this nerdy crypto stuff. I saw a deal yesterday that Texas purchased $10 million worth of Bitcoin. The state of Texas did. They purchased it through an ETF for now, but first state that I know of to actually purchase crypto was Texas, $10 million through an ETF. But in the lower part of that article, they said that Texas has full intention of self-custodying their own Bitcoin. They're just working through the hoops on how to get that done, but super cool. The U.S. government has quite a lot that they've confiscated from criminal organizations and stuff that they're holding on to, but I think they're going to go buy more, and there's a lot of states that have passed legislation allowing them to own it now. So I think the flood of government entities moving into it, U.S. I mean, there's a lot of foreign governments that have already been doing it, but I think Mr. Donald Trump's goal of making us the kind of the Bitcoin crypto capital is starting to come together, which all other opinions aside, I'm excited about because it'll make my portfolio look good.
I'm like, damn, I guess I better go get educated now.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff with it. It's super techie and nerdy. I figured you'd be all over it.
I would be if I didn't work directly beside you, I think.
Dude, it's like you'll be way better at it than I am. I'm not detail oriented. I keep trying to get Robin to learn because she's
same
like
way. Yep.
tracking spreadsheets on purchase points and spot buy locations and all that. I have some good automated tools that kind of keep it half-ass organized, but I'm not. You know me, I'm not that guy. Like you and Robin are very meticulous, detail-oriented on watching chart movements and spot buy locations. You guys will be way better than I am at it. I just got to nudge you into getting it going.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. You kind of got me wound up about it now. If Texas can do it, I can do it, bro.
There's some smart people in there.
Yes, sir.
But I would say if I can do it, I know you can do it.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be good at it.
Goals for 2026, man.
Oh, man, I'm going to start tomorrow now.
Limp Biscuit cover bands, buy Bitcoin.
We are doing that shit for sure.
What are you guys calling it? Kemp Biscuit?
Call it Kemp Biscuit.
That'll be epic. I'll be down to watch that.
Shit, now I got to go out and get that LLC done. You done told everybody my name.
You ain't got it bought yet?
No, not
Damn.
yet. I need to.
Just buy it on GoDaddy.
There you go.
Yeah. You got any Thanksgiving traditions at your house?
Man, I don't. I think it's the same as everybody else's. Just hang out, get full, watch football, drink a beer. I mean, it's
There you go.
hang out with the family. It's mostly what all we ever do. Every now and then the nieces and nephews will get us outside, kicking the ball around or playing basketball, try to kill us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a big football fan, or?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a statistic follower football fan now. Do I like watching the games? For sure.
Who's your team?
So I'm a Cowboys fan.
Cowgirls.
That's right. When I started, so I'm a Texas fan too, or Texans fan, but I started out as Houston Oilers fan, like way back in the day. So every time I played the Cowboys, it was a big deal. But then when they went away, I just stuck with the Cowboys. Just seemed like the road to go.
Yeah. You got a team? Do you watch it all?
The foosball. I hate when they get strikes every down.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
They miss the net with it. Yeah, it's terrible. No.
All right, Mrs. Boucher.
This is why he knows what crypto is.
Football bats, man. No. I follow it enough to know kind of halfway what's going on, but I'm not like a big avid fan.
Yeah.
I get the passive appreciation for watching these guys. Their athletes do some crazy shit, stuff
Sure.
I could never do, obviously, and so I have a high appreciation for what they do. I just don't get the rabid fandom, like people like tie their whole identity to a football team they don't have anything to do with, and just kind of blows my mind. It's like,
Yeah.
like they'll ruin their whole Thanksgiving over their team losing, and I'm like, dude, like, oh darn, our guys didn't win.
Happens for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know, but Wiley's pretty into it right now, so I'm more into it now than I have been since I was a kid. When I was little, my whole family was all Cowboys fans, so I had to be different. So I was a huge Steelers fan, and I have some other family that was from that part of the world, and I don't know, I just was drawn to them, so I'm still a little partial to them, but
Who's Wiley pulling for?
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
He's a Cowgirls fan.
He's a good kid.
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
Yeah, he likes them. I guess there was a game the other night where they were like down 21-0 or something. They came back and won, and he's in the living room screaming and shit. And I go in there, "What are you doing? The Cowboys won!" I was like, "Cool."
I'm the guy that watched the highlights. I didn't like see the whole game because I really didn't want to sit there and watch all of it. So I go back and I do the highlight reel. And go, hey, that was good.
Yeah, I just can't. Same thing like with any sport, not just football. I just can't sit around for hours doing that. Like if the
Except for
game's
UFC.
on. Yeah, I can.
We can watch some UFC.
I guess that is true. I do get into some UFC pretty hardcore. That's definitely my favorite sport to watch. Is UFC.
Well, that's because we would still play football, but there's no way in hell we're gonna go get in the ring. So.
I think I'd go get in the ring before I'd get on the football field.
Yeah.
I mean, I still mess around with the kickboxing and jiu-jitsu and stuff and all that, and that. I think that's why I like it more, is because I'm involved with it to some degree. So
that makes sense.
Punching people in the mouth sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can only watch for so long before you want to be part of it.
What do y'all think about that new deal Dana White pulled off with Paramount Plus?
I haven't seen the details of it. I know he was moving networks and stuff.
I think it's like $7 billion, and it'll just be free on Paramount Plus now. No more pay-per-views.
You don't gotta buy 6 different apps to watch it anymore.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So
when does that start? Next year?
Yeah, January, unfortunately.
Nice.
But yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So we already have Paramount Plus, but I don't remember the last time I paid for a UFC pay-per-view. But
I've paid for a lot of them over the last couple of years. I watch a lot of them.
Yeah,
but look forward to that one at the White House, dude. That's gonna be crazy.
Wild.
That's gonna be wild.
He said the fighters are gonna come from the Oval Office. Like,
dude, really?
That's pretty sick. Yeah.
Wow.
That's gonna be a huge event.
Yeah. He was talking. I was watching Flagrant, which is Andrew Schultz's podcast, and they were interviewing Dana, and he was talking about to redo the lawn afterwards is $1 million. Just like all of the extra things he's having to pull off, but it's gonna be crazy epic.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what card he pulls together for that.
You think he'll get McGregor in it?
I think so. Because they were bugging him about, do you think you can get John Jones back?
Bones.
Dana was pretty much just like, he's screwed me so last minute before that I can't trust him on that level.
Right.
And then he went into, versus Connor, who, I've gone in to meet with him. Hey, your opponent pulled out. I know the fight's next week. And Connor's like, I'm going to go train. Let me know who I fight when I get back.
Right.
Didn't have 87 people to call. Yeah. This big negotiation. He's just like, whatever. So I was thinking that because Dana didn't say Connor would be on the card, but when he was shooting down John Jones, he immediately went to how easy to work with Connor is. I was like, dude, I bet he comes back.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Hopefully Connor takes this one serious and gets some real training in.
Yeah. I think he would, because surely this will be the most viewed UFC of all time.
I would think it would have to be.
And he loves the stage, man.
He's a performer.
He is.